Now let us begin that we know that yoga is something that has been there for quite some time, right? We're all aware that yoga is a form of therapy or yoga is a form of living basically. And a lot of us have maybe practiced yoga or know someone who is practicing yoga or seen, right? Now, if I tell in general the term yoga, what is it that comes to our mind immediately? Maybe the first thing that comes to your mind is, let's say, a sage who is meditating, in deep meditation with a lot of concentration and there is stillness. Or you might have in your mind that yoga means, being flexible. There are a lot of poses and, your leg goes here and hand goes here and it's a little complex that way. So that is right, actually, to be honest. That is also yoga. There is a lot more to yoga. One of the major things that I would like to point out here, I think a lot of us aren't aware about what exactly, started this whole concept of yoga and what happened, from where does it originate. Yoga so basically comes from a Sanskrit word called yuj, right? Yuj means union. Now, union of what? What is the union that is encompassing the whole yoga aspect of ourselves? Now, we do know that yoga is not just for your physical health, right? It's also for your mental health, for your emotional health. It is a full-fledged sort of practice that caters to your well-being in general. So, the union typically means that it encompasses all these approaches: your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health. Everything all together comprises something called as yoga. Now, I have a second question for you all. In case somebody would like to answer, I would give you a couple of seconds to type your responses in the chat box. All right. Now, let's say, have you heard the term Patanjali? What comes to your mind when you hear the term Patanjali? Right. So what we know Patanjali as is something that we get aloe vera gel from, or we get shampoos, and what this Baba Ramdev has been, publicizing a lot and, been telling. It's a brand. But actually, Patanjali is a sage. He was an author and he was the one who wrote Yoga Sutras. What is Yoga Sutras? Yoga Sutras is something like a dictionary or an encyclopedia for yoga, right? Basically, Yoga Sutras are a way in which Patanjali, the author, the sage, has written down what are the rules and regulations of yoga. What are these asanas? A lot of asanas are there, a lot of postures are there, meditations. What are the names? What is the use of each one? When do we do it? Why do we do it? All of this is encompassed in something called as Yoga Sutra, which was written by Patanjali. And I hope Baba Ramdev has taken it from there because he is into yoga. So I hope he has taken the brand name as Patanjali from this inspiration. Right. Now, moving forward, now we have certain idea about what exactly is yoga and where it started from. Now, bringing it to more specific area, saying yoga therapy. What is the difference between yoga and yoga therapy? As the name suggests, yoga therapy is where you use yoga in a more therapeutic sort of manner, right? So all the aspects of yoga that are there are used in a more tailor-made approach, where each and every part of your living, of your life, or aspect of your life is dealt with, is catered to. Right? So it is a more individualized, more therapeutic approach. So yoga therapy takes up some wisdom from yoga, okay, the philosophy, the practice, the ancient practice of yoga, and combines it with modern scientific evidence-based knowledge, right? Now, it is a very personalized one-on-one sort of approach. Now, let's say, for example, with the yoga therapy, what happens is there are a lot of ailments that people might be facing. Let's say there is hypertension, BP, and people might be dealing with arthritis, varicose veins. Now, it becomes very specific with yoga therapy. Now, yoga is very recreational, overall well-being. We know that, right? With yoga therapy, it becomes more catered and tailored to a particular thing that you're dealing with. For arthritis, certain postures are not to be done. Certain diet restrictions need to be followed. Certain pranayama or meditation shouldn't be done, certain should be done. These are the what compromises the whole yoga therapy framework. So let's say if you do attend a yoga therapy class, your therapist is going to ask you about your physiology, about your medical history, if you are facing any particular sort of issue related to your health. And based on that, and based on your body, individual body, and your capabilities, they're going to tailor make an approach for you, which will help you to deal with that particular issue. Now we know that we have, I think by now, discussed that it is a lifestyle, right? Yoga is more like a lifestyle rather than, just a simple practice, because it involves, let's say, dietary factors. It involves certain rules and regulation about when to eat, what to eat, and how you should think as well. The kind of thoughts that you must have. So it is a holistic approach basically. And so is yoga therapy. Yoga therapy becomes a holistic approach that covers your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of your life. Now we would get into detail of each one of these aspects slowly. Let's start with the physical aspects. Now let's say an individual is dealing with thyroid issues. Okay, for example, there is a malfunctioning thyroid. What is the asana or the posture that is usually recommended for individuals who have a malfunctioning thyroid gland is camel pose. Okay, now a lot of you might not be aware with what exactly is camel pose. Basically, it is a backward sort of bend, and a large part of pressure or stretch is felt on the front half of your body, okay, towards your neck region and your chest. Now, why this was important, or why I shared this example, is because a large part of yoga, that is the physical aspect of it, the postures, the asanas, is that you need to be aware of the human physiology, your skeletal system, your cardiac system, and your respiratory system, your muscular system, your nervous system. Why? Because each of these physical, biological aspects cater to this. Now, how I told you an example about the thyroid aspect. Now, when you do the camel pose, this part of your body is stretched, right? And where is the thyroid gland placed? Right here. So when you put pressure over here, this gland of yours is activated. And that is how physical aspects of your health are catered through yoga. When we meditate, we are aware, this is a very general common practice, right? When you sit and meditate, you have this mudra. This is what you do. And why do we do this? It is because there are certain nerve endings in each of your fingers and each of your part of your body, right? So certain nerves relate to certain part of your body. And let's say when you do this, the nerve endings in this finger and your thumb combine together to complete a circuit, basically. And that way, it kind of brings you a little bit more of peace and stability, because these nerves relate in your body or go up to your body to calm down your nervous system. So you see how your nervous system, every single nerve of your body or every single physical aspect of your body is related to something or the other organ, obviously. And that is one important aspect. So it's not just about getting, fit or getting more flexible. It is also about endurance, about balance and strength, and knowing that which part of your body is being stretched, which organ is being affected by when you do a particular pose. That brings us to something called as the mental aspects of it. What is yoga doing for our mental health, for example? Now, let's say when you do meditate, you sit down and you try to focus on your breathing. What happens is that when you just focus on your breathing, it leaves very little room in your mind for you to think of anything else. The excess thoughts that are there in your mind kind of don't stay. A lot of times we have a lot of stressors, when we are sitting. I'm sure right now also, if there is someone who is tensed about what is going to happen, who's like, okay, I still have to cook lunch, or I have to, 2 meetings tomorrow, I have to send the reports. All of this chaos goes on in our mind all the time, something or the other thing. It's like a to-do list constantly. So that's why it's suggested at least 15 minutes a day, that minimum 15 minutes a day. You need to take out for yourself and sit down and meditate. And meditation does not necessarily mean that, it has to be extreme where you're completely focusing on one object or something. It can just start with breath work. That is noticing how you're breathing. That's the beginning of trying to establish some sort of mental calmness into your body, some sort of balance. And how it relates a little bit to your physical aspect is that whenever you do a posture, you hold it for a certain moment of time. You hold it for 30 seconds or you hold it for 1 minute at least. And when you hold a particular pose, you're supposed to stay in that particular pose. And when you stay in that particular pose, you are supposed to even focus on your breathing, how you're breathing, and focus on, let's say, how your arm is stretching or how your back feels, which muscle you can feel a little bit of pull or which muscle feels relaxed. This is what you focus on. And when you focus on this, again, same thing. It leaves very little room for you to think about your meetings and appointments that you have. So it brings down all of the stress, physical and mental. Now, let's go to emotional aspects of yoga. You know that if you're calm and composed and physically relaxed, you are going to be happy. You are going to feel good. You're going to be in a good mood. Why do we go for a run? Why do people go to the gym and lift weights and everything? Because of something called as dopamine. They get that dopamine rush after working out. The same thing happens with yoga. It is also a workout. It's just not strenuous. Here you use your own body weight rather than using external body weights. Okay? And when you do that, it creates a good hormone system in your body, in the sense your hormones are regulated well. The release, the secretion of certain hormones, these happy hormones, there is dopamine, there's serotonin, all these are more balanced in your body. It's all a game of hormones, okay? When you're sad, your dopamine levels are low. When you're angry, that means your cortisol levels are high, your stress hormone is high. So it's all about hormones. And if you practice yoga, catering to your mental and physical health, emotional health, is just like a bonus point that you get there. Now, we do understand, or we know that a lot of times yoga is considered to be a religion. You might have heard a lot here and there that, it's a religion, you're supposed to practice it that way. There's a slight difference. And it is very natural to make this, understanding, or have this understanding that it can be a religion because, like I said, it's a way of living. It's a lifestyle. There are dietary aspects, there are physical aspects, there are mental aspects, there are emotional aspects, right? So very easily it can be understood as a religion. But the difference is that it is more spiritual rather than religious, right? Spiritual self works on, or the spiritual aspect works on internal aspects of you. In the sense, it's more about increasing your self-awareness. You know which part of your body feels in a certain way. You know what you're going on in your mind. You're able to control yourself better. Now, you might have seen that, these Aghori Babas and all these sages that practice deep yoga and meditation for years together, you might have seen they have, left the worldly vices that way, right? They don't, you might have seen that they do not engage much with respect to the clothing that they're having or the kind of place they stay in. All of these are left. This is something called as Maya in the yogic scriptures. So in the Yoga Sutra, the end goal is apparently to just leave all this Maya away. In the sense, you become so enlightened and so self-aware that you do not require external resources. Now that's something that comes with years and years of practice, and you have to take a very different spiritual path if you want to progress in that sort of manner. For us, what might be useful for us to understand our daily lives, all of us who are, students or working professionals or housewives, what happens for us is that we need to understand it might help us to control ourselves better, regulate ourselves better with respect to our physical self, with respect to our mental and emotional self. Now, all these babas and these sages who practice yoga, they don't feel cold. You must have seen here and there in news experts, you will have little bit of news coming around saying, we found this baba and in the Siachen area where there is snow and he's just roaming around almost with just one dhoti around him. And then they don't feel cold, don't feel hot. Why does that happen? It's about the amount of control that you can have on your body internally as well, because you can't control your external surroundings, right? You can't control the weather, you can't control climate, what is happening, the kind of calamities that come in, but you can regulate yourself to adapt to it. And with intense amount of yoga over the years together and meditation together, they have built up such good control over their body that they're able to control the physiology of it. How much cold they feel, how much hot they feel, the kind their skin reacts or not to things. So all of this is possible. It's not like an extra superhuman quality, but definitely it will require some superhuman amount of dedication and years of practice to get there. And likely said that you get more control over yourself and move on to something interesting called as the mind-body connection. Now, let's say when you're angry, what happens? What do you do? Or what do you tell someone when you're angry? I personally, if I am very angry, I can feel my body get heated up, my face becomes red and my forehead becomes, a little warm and my heart starts to beat fast. This is how my body physically reacts to anger. And whenever I get angry, what my mother tells me is just take a deep breath. It's okay, relax. That's what she tells me. And I suppose a lot of you might have heard the similar thing, or you might have told to someone else. Now, let's say when you're sad or when you are scared of something, what do you tell someone? Or how do you console them? Maybe you give them a hug, right? You just try to physically console them that way and say, like, it's okay, I'm here for you. And you maybe pat on their back or you give them a hug. Now, these two examples, they're not distinct. They're very close to each other. But at the same time, they have two aspects involved. Now, let's say you getting angry or you feeling sad or you're feeling scared. What are these aspects? These are nothing but emotions, right? So these are your emotions, and emotions come from your understanding of what is going on around you, right? If I don't like something, only then I will feel bad about it. Right? So how I understand my scenarios around me, how I understand people or situations around me, based on that, I will feel something about it. And where does all of this process happen? Here, in our mind, right? So that is your mind aspect. But when I say I'm angry, I also told that my body heats up and my heart beats fast. What is this? This is the physical aspect of it, right? So this is your body basically. Now, your mind and body are connected this way, that whenever anything happens in life, whether it's good, bad, stressful, whatever it is, you are going to react towards that particular thing with your body as well as your mind. Now, when someone tells you that, just take a deep breath, relax, it'll be okay. And it does sometimes help for us to calm down our anger. Why? When we take a deep breath, we are catering to our physical self. Right? We bring in more oxygen to our body. We bring our focus to our breathing, which is your physical aspect of yoga. What it does in turn calms you down emotionally. Your anger comes down a little bit. See how your body and mind is related that way? So maybe a lot of times we might struggle to cater to or control our emotions or our mental aspects that well. We are emotional human beings, right? That's just how we are born. We are very emotional, all of us. Now, we can't control that so easily. But physical aspects, we can. Right? So, let's say, for example, with respect to anxiety, right? We might have heard that a lot of times we feel anxious. If, let's say, we don't exactly know the term anxiety, can we say that a lot of times we feel scared about something happening, or we feel fear that something might happen or might not happen? Our heart beats fast, our palms get sweaty. Let's say I had this session today, I was also very anxious about it. Like, my palms were a little sweaty and cold, and I was like, oh my God, what if I fumble? And what will people say? And will even people be interested to listen to me? Will they sleep away while I'm talking? You see, some of you might be getting bored right now, but see, that is also your mind-body connection. Now, because your body is not stimulated enough with what I'm saying, you're sitting in one place and just listening, you're getting bored. Your mind mentally not stimulated at all. Same way. So mind-body stimulation, what happens is that whenever you are in a particular posture, it creates a certain relation with your mind, with how you feel. And that's why it's very important to understand that your mind and your body are not two separate things. Okay? They work in relation with each other. They can never work on their own independently. Now, we all want to be independent in life. We all want to be there by ourselves. Like, I can do it by myself and I'm an independent person. Technically, it's not really possible for us. Somehow, all of us are dependent on something or the other. You are dependent on one part of your body on another part of your body. Simple as that, right? Nothing truly exists as an independent entity. It all works in binaries. You are also dependent on the grass, the plants, the trees for oxygen, for food, for everything. When you say you're not dependent on another human being for something, I think you might be dependent on someone for some sort of emotional connect or emotional support, if not in any other ways, right? So as humans, as evolution tells us, or just like an evolutionary need, we have this innate need to fit in, to be a part of something, to just be connected with people. That's the whole thing as to why we exist as society, why we have this whole concept of community. And that is what yoga also emphasizes, that it's a way of living where we build a healthy community, where all of us work together, right? I hope all of you are with me until here. Now, the last thing that we discussed about was mind-body connection, right? In the sense that how your physical self is connected to your mental self. And I think the questions here also gave us a little bit insight into how that works. Bringing it to more specific frame as to how can yoga therapy help you with your mental health, right? We learned it is holistic approach. It helps your physical health this way. But with respect to mental health, there are n number of, mental health related issues that can be catered with yoga therapy. For example, depression, anxiety, ADHD, stress, PTSD, past traumatic stress, your self-esteem, self-awareness, schizophrenia, as well as that. So these are very few of these mental health related issues that can be dealt with yoga therapy, in the sense that it works on very precise framework, like how we discussed. For depression, we need to understand that a certain aspect of your physical health, of your physiology, doesn't work, in the sense your body does not produce enough happy hormones, right? Now, because it does not produce enough happy hormones and your thought process is inclining towards a lot of negative aspects, that is why it kind of causes a depressive phase. When you practice yoga therapy with respect to treating or addressing your depression, it focuses more on physical postures or asanas that cater to bringing more blood flow to your body, which will increase the amount of serotonin or the happy hormone that your body is producing. For example, there are a lot of different kinds of yoga. You might have heard there is Hatha yoga, Vinyasa yoga, Ashtanga yoga. Now, each type works with different aspect of your mental health. For depression, it is recommended we do a little bit more of powerful yoga, in the sense where it requires more dealing with strength, body weights, and it's a little more strenuous so that the dopamine production can happen. With respect to, let's say, ADHD, where you have difficulty in terms of your attention and there's large amount of energy in the body which is not being able to be controlled, right? So there is hyperactivity. What kind of yoga or yoga therapy system works there is something that involves stillness. Hatha yoga works, where you hold a pose for 30 seconds or 1 minute and you stay that way. Focus on your breathing. So you are trying to instill stillness. So you see how it gets catered to based on your particular needs, not just your physical needs, but as well as your mental needs. With that, I would kind of conclude the session, but there is something little more engaging I have right now for all of you, and I would really appreciate if you all participated in it. I would like all of you to just sit in a comfortable position, okay, or stand wherever you are. Sit, lie down on your bed, whatever comfortable position works for you. Just get into that position, okay, and we're going to practice a little bit of breath work. We are doing a body scan in the sense, right now, in the next 7 to 10 minutes, we are going to find out how we physically feel at the moment, okay, how we are doing with respect to our different body parts. I would like you all to just close your eyes and relax in a place, sit comfortably. Yeah, I'll give you a minute or so to find a space. And those who can't do it, those who do not have access to a comfortable space right now, might be traveling or something, just focus on what I'm hearing. You don't have to close your eyes, but try to understand what I am saying. Others can close their eyes slowly and just take a deep breath from your nose and slowly breathe out from your mouth. Another deep breath in. Breathe out from your mouth. Once again, breathe in. Breathe out from your mouth. Now slowly get your breathing back to normal. Breathe at a normal pace. Keep your breathing steady. Try to focus just on how the air is going in from your nostrils and coming out, how you inhale and exhale. Bring your entire focus to your breathing, to your body. We are slowly going to do a scan of our body. Slowly pay attention to how your face and your head feels. Bring your attention whether your jaw is clenched or it's relaxed, whether your forehead is clenched or relaxed. Relax your shoulders, drop them down slowly. Keep your breathing steady. Focus on how, when you breathe in, your chest and your belly rises and falls. Bring your focus to your belly. Slowly feel the weight of your body, where it's distributed. If you're sitting, maybe the lower half of your body feels the weight of your body. If you're lying down, notice your posture. If you're walking or standing, notice how your legs feel. We're not going to correct anything. If something feels uncomfortable, you might feel like some sort of discomfort or stress. We're going to let it be that way. We're just doing a scan of how we feel. Pay attention to how your body weight is distributed. You can slowly move your toes or fingers. Now I request you all to take another deep breath in and breathe out from your mouth. Exhale slowly. Breathe in. Breathe out. Notice your body feeling more lighter. You feel as though there might be some weight on certain part of your body, and that's okay. Some of you might feel a tingling sensation in any part of your body. That's all right. Take a deep breath in. Hold. Hold your breath. And exhale from your mouth. If you might feel that your breathing is not steady, take some time to make your breathing steady. Come back to normal breathing. And when you feel that your breathing is steady, your heart isn't beating faster, it's relaxed, you can open your eyes. Now, I assume we're all back here. We've slowly relaxed ourselves and we've come back to the session with us here. Some of you might notice a little discomfort, some of you might feel relaxed, and that is your cue to understand how your body feels. That was it was for. It was for you to understand and do a scan as to which part of your body feels okay, which part is not. If you feel that maybe your arms or your shoulders are hurting, that means you're storing a lot of tension in your shoulders. You might want to relax a little bit. So understand which part of your body feels in which way, and then I hope you cater to them the rest half of the day. Thank you so much. That was my part of today's session.